Welcome back, everybody. So I am fishing one of my favorite places to fish, and it's not very easy to get to. You got to follow a long creek and canal all the way back to the lake. So it isn't super highly pressured, and there are definitely some big fish back here. So very excited about today. Hopefully we end up catching some fish. Today we are going to be fishing with another type of chatterbait that I've never thrown before. So we did a video not too terribly long ago that was using the baby jack, and today we will be using another one that I've never thrown before. So excited about that. But before I forget, we are still doing our giveaway, so stay to the end of the video to hear more about that. But we're just gonna do a little bit more paddling and end up seeing if we can't catch a few fish, and maybe this is where we catch our big one. All right, so we made it out to the lake. This is what we are throwing today. If you've watched the channel before, you know one of my favorite lures to throw is the ChatterBait Mini Max. In any sort of pond, it does phenomenally well if you don't know like the size of fish in there. And I've caught a lot of big fish on it too. But since ChatterBait, as it does, has created another version, which is the Evo Mini Max, it's from what I understand, essentially the same thing, just better components to it. I think it's got a better snap. It's supposed to have a better hook. It has eyes on it, which the original Mini Max does not. And apparently it's supposed to thump a little bit better. And it's got a little bit more realistic of a minnow or a fish head. So I don't know if it's necessarily that much better, but we're going to go ahead and start chucking around and seeing if this is another chatterbait that we can add to the tackle box on a consistent basis. But let's get them tied on. The water is relatively clear. It's kind of tannic, but it's relatively clear, so we might start off with, was it the glitter bomb? And then we might end up moving on over to the black and blue, which is tried and true. But let's get her tied on and see if we can't catch a couple. All right, this is what she looks like. One thing I did notice immediately is that it has a much better plastic keeper than the regular Mini Max. So I do like that. The Mini Max is, I think it's just basically metal, and it's kind of big, bulky, doesn't hold on those plastics real well. This one's a metal keeper, similar to the jackhammer. I don't think it doesn't have a double prong, but it's got a single prong. So it should most certainly keep those on a little bit better, which is nice. Let's see how she chatters. All right, so I would say, I don't know if it's as much as a normal Mini Max, but it is way more thump than the baby jack had. We do have a bit of a different plastic on there, so that could have a little bit to do with it, but I would say it's definitely less than the jackhammer, and to me, I'll have to throw the Mini Max some today. Seems a little bit less than the Mini Max too, so. But definitely more than the baby jack, which that baby jack just surprised me. Thinking jackhammer, I just thought it was going to be such a decent thump, and it was so subdued, but fish absolutely loved it. So hopefully they love this one too. Oh, got one. Oh gosh. Came right out of the water after that. Good gracious, that was crazy. That one seemed hyper aggressive, so hopefully the rest of the fish will too. There's our first one. Little guy. There's definitely bigger in here though. That was fun. Right on the weed line. Right where it should be. Oh, got one. It's like on our third cast. Not a big one. Very similar size to the last one. Maybe a little bit bigger. But he inhaled that thing. Small ones. But that's two and super, super quick. I don't know that I like this necessarily better than a Mini Max. Initial impressions, I think it works for sure. I mean, all ChatterBaits work. And it does look a little bit better, so maybe that might get a couple better bites for you, but I think in term of amount of thump seems very, very similar. So I think it's more or less if you're willing to dole out an extra couple dollars. It's not like wildly expensive compared to the regular Mini Max, so it won't break the bank or anything. It's not like buying a jackhammer. So I think this one works. I don't think at this moment it's something that I'm wildly impressed with, but it's nicer. I just don't know that I would necessarily really want to buy it over a regular one. But who knows? Maybe we'll catch a bunch of big fish and we'll convert. Get them. They are just teeing off on this thing. That's like 3 casts after our last fish. They're all small ones though, unfortunately. Which, again, if you're using a Mini Max or something like that, I typically use it in areas that, you know, maybe want to be a little bit more finesse if it's a little bit cooler or something like that as far as the water goes, or if you don't know the size of fish that are in the lake. But I do know there are big ones here, but this is probably going to definitely catch a lot of the small ones too. So if you're shooting for just bigger fish, I would say this isn't one that you want to use all that often. Probably want to upgrade to a jackhammer or even the baby jack, to be honest, because both of those are bigger. But the small ones seem to absolutely love this thing right now. Oh, there's one. I think. Yeah, there's a fish on. Oh, it came off. I think that was a bigger fish. That or it was caught up in weeds or something. No. Yeah, he was definitely caught up in weeds. Felt like dead weight for a second, but that was definitely a bigger fish. Oh, there's one. I absolutely love that little guy again. I absolutely love that feeling when you have a ChatterBait similar to a spinnerbait or something like that, and you just feel that blade stop. And you know, if you're not in grass, you know that you're about to get tight. You almost have like a quarter-second notification that you're gonna get a fish. It's kind of cool. There's another one. Back-to-back casts. That one I was in grass. I wasn't sure if it was grass or if it was a little fish. There are just loads of these little guys, and we're floating over our little grass patch now. Can we go 3 for 3? Oh, there's one. Felt that blade stop. Little guy again. Ski him on in. Not a big one, but there are many out here. Which again, there have to be some big ones. I've caught big ones again, so there definitely are. They might not be super easy to find, but there's tons of bait out here. There's no reason that there aren't a fair number of big ones. But going back to this Mini Max though, I don't know that. So typically you throw ChatterBaits and stuff a lot in grass. I don't know that the baby jack that we had previously thrown would be a great option for that, because you do have a much more subtle vibration. So knowing that you got a little bit hung up in some weeds or grass, especially if it's like something small, like knowing to rip it through and whatnot, might not be the easiest. So that might be when you want to downsize potentially to one of these Mini Maxes, so that you can still have that contact and know, you know, when to rip it out, because a lot of times that's going to be what triggers your strikes. So I do think there is a place for all these ChatterBaits in the situation, but it is quite an expensive thing to have all of them, and the amount of space it takes to have all sorts of different. There's one. Oh, pulled them off. All sorts of different ChatterBaits, styles, sizes, colors. Might have to get a designated, oh, there's one. That's a tiny one. Oh, pulled him off too. Might have to get a designated ChatterBait box. Man, some of these are tiny, tiny. Just sit. Oh, there's one. Is that a better one? That's a little bit better one, and he's a little bit further from the grass line. Nah, not really. Not really. Ooh. Oh gosh. Stay. There we go. Nope, not any bigger. Thought he was. Stayed down a little bit more than the rest of them. ChatterBaits certainly work. Comment down below which is your favorite ChatterBait. I think the only one that I haven't used yet, and I have, is the Stealth Blade. I haven't used that one. I probably will have to do that sometime soon, but I don't know, as well as the Baby Jack worked, I don't know if I would ever really need to use a Stealth Blade in a finesse situation that wouldn't work for the Baby Jack. But comment down below, nevertheless. I'm sure there are opinions every sort of which way as to which one's the best and in certain situations and all that. There's one. Another little guy. Oh, tiny. Where are all the big ones? They might be a little bit more in the main lake than these little grassy areas. Little guy. All right, I think we're gonna go ahead and switch on over and tie on the Mini Max to see if the fish like it. Very much the same. See if there's much difference. All right, so we've got our Mini Max original tied on. Again, this is the kind of the hook keeper that they have on there. It's metal. It doesn't hold the plastics quite as well. So I think, you know, for the most part, the Mini Max Evo is more or less if you just want a little bit better components to your ChatterBait. And there we go. So side by side, pretty similar. Again, you're going to get a little bit nicer skirts and stuff like that, a little bit better colors with the Evo, but this is pretty similar. And so we're going to go ahead and start chucking this guy around. Just trying to make sure that the blades are pretty much the same size. Start chucking this guy around, see if they like it just as much. You know what? I take it back. The Mini Max Evo does actually thump a little bit harder. I didn't think it did. Oh, there's a fish on the first cast. It does thump a little bit harder. I didn't think it did. It's been a little while, I guess, since I've thrown one. But so if you want a slightly harder thumping, yeah, this one reminds me a lot of the Baby Jack, to be honest. I think it vibrates just a little bit more than the Baby Jack, maybe, but I would say those two are pretty comparable as far as how much they thump. And then the Evo does thump just a little bit harder. Again, there are just so many slight differences. And in the video where we had thrown the Baby Jack and then the jackhammer, it did seem like there were fish that preferred one versus the other, because we'd throw one of them for a while and not end up with a bite, or, you know, end up with one fish or something like that after fishing for a little while, and then throw the other one and you'd follow up with bites. So it does seem like fish, for whatever reason, care. So I do think that in situations like these are all useful. Does it make a ton of sense to have 15 different lures that are very, very similar? Just a slight difference. I mean, by the time you find out which one works, you might be done with your day. So I don't know that that's great, but that Evo does thump a little bit harder. And I guess in my opinion, when I'm using a ChatterBait, I do want that vibration. So I take it back. I might potentially convert. Now, I don't think I'll replace all my mini maxes with the Evo, but if I've got, I guess, the money for it, I probably will get the one that's just $1 or $2 more. There's one. Went to a new spot and second cast, got one on the Mini Max. Same size as basically all the rest of them. Little guy. One thing they do say with the Evo is it's got a little bit quicker pickup speed, which I don't think I've ever had an issue with the Mini Max. So I don't necessarily feel that. I feel like they're very, very similar as far as startup speed. Instantly. Holy cow. Hit the water. Little guy. This will probably be the last one we catch on the original Mini Max. Another small one. Where are the good ones? I hope this lake hasn't stunted itself. Again, there's so many bluegill out here that they should not run out of food at all, but all right. We've determined that they both can catch fish. So we're gonna cut this guy off and put on the Evo. Maybe start throwing around the actual jackhammer, see if we can't catch something a little bit better. There's one. Is that a better one? No, not really. Oh, it came off. Huh. Got another one. Popping it right out of the grass. Little guy. There are so many of you. Should come back here ice fishing with fat heads and catch 100. Oh, there's one. Right next to the kayak. Is that 3 for 3? I don't think I got the first one, but I had a bite. Another one. I'm starting to think that there are not nearly as many big fish out here as there used to be, because with the clearly thousands of, there's another one, thousands of 10-inch bass. I don't know if there are enough bluegill out here to support this, guys, but it's a nice looking one. Dark. I do know there are golden shiners out here, so maybe we're just not using the right size bait. That sounded like a bigger fish. There's another one. Holy cow. Oh, missed him. He was like all of like 8 inches. He was tiny, tiny. They're just loaded in the spot. But yeah, maybe we just have to use bigger baits to catch bigger fish. Or another one. Oh, threw it. It wasn't. It was a tiny bit bigger. Might have been like 12. There's another one. It's just every single just every single cast. There's another 2 on the same cast. I think if we had a A-rig out here, this might be the chance that, tiny, this might be the chance that I have catch a double. Heck, you might even catch a triple out here. All right, we threw the jackhammer around and did not have a bite, so we're gonna throw the Evo again for a little bit. Oh, okay, first cast, yep. I just don't think there's a ton of big fish around here that want bigger baits, so we might have to make a decent little move to a different part of the lake to see if there aren't potentially some bigger fish, maybe somewhere else. Because here, this seems to be everything that we catch. And small, and even smaller. This is actually one of the better sized ones. I've caught 5-pounders out of here before. I mean, they all the fish look really healthy, so I don't think they're stunted. The big ones are just, maybe they're not eating. But let's go and make a move and see if we can't find some of those bigger ones. There's one. That's not very big either. Oh, they're just everywhere. I'm afraid our lake, that one's barely lip. That's ridiculous. It's legitimately half as big as he is. No, over half. Count the blade, it's like 2/3. Oh, this is not good. It'd be tons of fun if all we were doing was just trying to catch some fish and didn't really care, but at this point in time, I'd like something over 2 pounds. Oh, there's one. That one hit a little bit harder, but he's not really any bigger. He's not 6. Oh, he's not 6 inches. That might be the biggest one of today, sadly. Maybe it's coming over here paid off a little bit. See, even like the little bit bigger ones, they're not unhealthy. There's one. As soon as I hit the water. Little one, just the same. Feels a lot bigger because he's in lily pads instead of grass. Whoop. Exactly the same size. Oh, he's skin hooked. Just hooked himself twice. Maybe we should come out here someday and throw strictly big baits. Probably won't get nearly the number of bites. Maybe no bites at all, but if they were, they should be bigger fish. And maybe that's what you gotta do to get these bigger fish in here. Get him. As soon as it hit. Is that a better one? That's a little bit better one. Ironically, that's the first cast I threw. That is a little bit better one. Not much. But that is the first one I threw with the jackhammer in this spot. So maybe it is just a matter of bigger baits. Oh, he nailed it too. Hit the water and I think it hit a lily pad and fell off, and there we go. Not a big one, but a little bit over a pound, and he looks healthy too. That might be the thing. You might just have to throw bigger baits here because there are so many small ones that it's just hard to keep it away from the small fish. Well, that is it for today. They clearly like the Minimax Evo. We're going to go home, though. We did not catch a 4-pounder, so we will go ahead and talk about our lures and then go ahead and put another lure in the box. All right, we are back home after fishing with the Evo Minimax. In all honesty, ChatterBaits almost always work. I don't know if there's been one that I fished that hasn't worked. I'm not a huge fan of the OG ChatterBait, but all the rest of them, they catch fish insanely well, and the Evo Minimax is no different. I think the biggest thing with the Evo Minimax versus just the regular Minimax is if you're willing to spend an extra couple dollars for upgraded components for the most part. You get nicer skirts. The hook or the plastic keeper is a little bit nicer on the Evo. The blade startup didn't really seem to be much different between the two, but there is a little bit more thump with that Evo. So to each their own. It's just kind of if you want to spend an extra couple bucks to get a little bit nicer of one. If it was something that I was losing a lot to, a lot of to pike and dogfish, snakehead, what have you, I'd probably opt for just the regular Mini Max. But if you're not going to lose too many, I would say that an extra $1 or something like that probably isn't a bad way to go with the Evo. So a couple dollars. But if you're new to the channel, we are doing a giveaway in a series format. So this is everything that we've added to our box already. So basically, since we started going up until December 1st, every video that we don't catch a 4-pounder, we add a lure to the box. And once we either catch a 4-pounder or December 1st comes around, we will be giving everything away over on Instagram. So follow along with the video. So one, you know what we're adding to the box, and then two, you know when we're going to be giving all that stuff away. Hopefully we catch a 4-pounder before December 1st, but as our box shows, it hasn't happened yet, and we're adding lots of stuff. In all honesty, we probably have well over $100 worth of baits, and hopefully somebody ends up being able to catch a bunch of fish with all this stuff. So like, comment, share for anybody who wants the opportunity to potentially win this stuff. So again, today we caught a ton of fish, but obviously everything was tiny. Hopefully that lake isn't stunted. We probably won't fish it again this fall. Maybe we will, but I'll definitely be out there in ice fishing season to either catch a ton of little bass or hopefully find some of those big ones that should still be out there. But we didn't catch a 4-pounder, so we have to add another lure to the box. So we're going to add this pre-molded bluegill swim bait. Small enough for small fish to eat, and definitely snacky enough for some big fish. So we'll add that to the box. As always, if you guys like the video, if you wouldn't mind liking, and if you want to see more videos like it, if you wouldn't mind subscribing, that'd be greatly appreciated also. Till next one.